Welcome back, students. Today we will be studying about apoplast and symplast pathway of the movement of water inside the plant body. The water which is absorbed from the epidermal cells, from the root hairs of the epidermal cells of the plants, they can follow two pathways. One is called the apoplast pathway, and the second is called the symplast pathway. The apoplast pathway is the pathway which follows the intercellular spaces or the cell walls. This this is the pathway. These arrows, they are showing the apoplast pathway. These are the cell walls, and this is the protoplasmic contents. This is the epidermal cell. The water will enter here. It can enter through the cell walls and further follow the intercellular spaces, and it can move on to through the cell wall to the cortical cells, from the cortical cells to the endodermal cells. Now here, when it enters the endodermal cells, there are present the Casparian strips. So whatever water is moving through the apoplast pathway, it will be moving from epidermal cells to the layers of the cortical cells, and then they will enter the endodermal cells. They will follow the symplast pathway. The simplest pathway is when the water, it actually enters the protoplasmic content, the cytoplasmic contents of the cell. From the cell wall, it enters the protoplasm of the cell. From the protoplasm, there is plasmodesmal connections between the cells. These plasmodesmata, they are the areas where the cell walls are absent, and the cytoplasmic, the protoplasmic contents of the adjacent cells, they are connected through these plasmodesmata, and the water, it moves through these plasmodesmata to the cortical cells. From the cortical cells, it moves on to the endodermal cells. From the endodermal cells, it enters the pericycle cells, and then from the pericycle cells, it enters the xylem tissue, from where it is transported to the rest parts of the plant body. So this is the apoplast pathway and the symplast pathway. Apoplast is where it avoids the protoplasmic content, and the symplast pathway is the one where the protoplasmic contents, the water, it moves through the protoplasmic contents of the plant cells. Till endodermis, the water can move from the through apoplast pathway or through symplast pathway. But when it reaches the endodermis, due to the presence of these Casparian strips, the water, it follows the simplest pathway only.